What is up? Need for Speed Racers. It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornnut. Volume 6 patch notes for the Volume 6 update that dropped. This is really good for us as a community. There's a lot of people trashing this, and so I want to have a very different look at it from an analytical standpoint of I'm a racer, I like the game, I have passion for the game, what they're going a direction of, how I think that is good, things that I would like to see changed. But if I don't put it out there in a video format or in a text format to where others can digest it, maybe it won't get touched on as much by the developers. I know a lot of them have seen some of my videos because they fixed things that we've identified here on the channel. So let's just get into it. I'm excited for you guys as both single player and multiplayers because they're listening. That's kind of rare. All right, so let's just go. Audi is the name of the patch notes here. Like, that's not the name, but like that is where we're at. We got 3 new Audis. And honestly, if you don't want to buy the premium part of the Speed Pass, don't. You still get 2 of the 3. The RS6 is the only one that's locked behind the $10 paywall. If you don't want to drive that car, don't pay the $10. You still get the S5 and the R8. The R8 is really the only car that is like meta and gonna probably shake up some of the classes. And you get that anyway just by playing. So we're good to go. It's not like they've locked a really special car behind a paywall. They haven't. So we'll get into it here. They are doing dedicated PvP with fresh week playlist weekly. This is huge for us, you guys. I've been asking for this for a long time. It's how you keep the game cycle going. When link ups came out, as we know, I've been very critical of that because I think that's the dumbest shit ever. But people like it. Cool. If you like it, that's cool. As a racer, it's a complete waste of time for a mini game for me. But when that happened, it took our 16 players on server and would throw 8 of them to that. 3 other people would be in the garage, and we would have maybe 4 or 5 people that maybe wanted to race, and there's no way they all wanted to run the same class. And so races fell off. We could barely get a playlist started. If you did, it had 2 or 3 people at the most. It was just really hard to get a full lobby. This solves that. It's wonderful. You log in, you select that. Cool, we're going PvP racing. It waits till you get a lobby of 8, and then it goes, and it pulls from anybody who selects that type. And so it doesn't matter what server they're on, they get put into that with you, and it just fills it up. It's really, really nice. To critique that a little bit, I don't like the current week this week. It's all stock cars except for S+, and they're all the stock Audis. That's not bad, but it's not fun for me because you guys know I'm a tuner and a builder and a racer. So I like to tune the cars to the best that they can be and drive them to the ragged edge of what they're capable of. And when I'm driving a stock vehicle, I don't love it. It's fair-based PvP, we're all in the same thing, but let my build shine. Like, that's where I want to be. So next week, if we can pick our cars for whatever class we're in, I'll be a lot happier boy. But it's a good place to start, so I'm cool with that. Global rank across single player and multiplayer. That's huge. That allows you guys as single players to still have a ranking system. It's just a badge. It doesn't actually like give you rank rewards or anything like that right now, but they could build on that. They could give that to us. It's something. And the fact that you can also progress through the speed pass in single player just like you do in multiplayer is fantastic. So when you're doing side bets, when you're doing those missions, smashing cops, getting away with high heat, whatever it might be in the single player side of things, you still gain XP towards the speed pass to unlock the R8, the body kits, whatever that might be. So even if you don't want to touch the online play, you're good to go. I'm not a single player guy. I've never beat the single player campaign. I was a world record holder in the prologue for a little bit, but that doesn't matter to me. It matters in a way that anybody who likes that portion of the game, they're catering to you, and they're also catering to me, and that warms my heart. Like, that makes me feel like this game is going to have a little bit longer play cycle. The roots are going a little deeper. It'll keep people coming back, and that's what I'm about. So let's go. Awesome. Premium Speed Pass, not a bad deal. Honestly, guys, if you want your game to be continued to be supported, you need them to have revenue. This game doesn't have cosmetics and microtransactions, like a lot of the other games that get frequently updated. Everybody will refer to the Crew 2 or the Crew Motorfest and be like, oh, they update that game for free. Yeah, they also sell weekly vanities that rotate through that are not cheap. And those weekly vanities that are not cheap are bought by lots of players across the entire player base. And so it funds those constant updates because it's a money-making scenario for them. Short of the catch-up packs and some cosmetics for a few of the cars, they are not pushing nearly as much money updates for Unbound as other games that are a live service are. So when they release a speed pass that is $10 and you don't have to buy it unless you want one specific car, that's not predatory in my opinion. Like, that's really not that bad. You get 2 of the 3 cars for free. So the body kits are cool. It's something to rank up with. There's a lot of new things they're adding. I don't hate it. For $10, it's worth to me. It really is a good way to show support for Criterion, to show EA, the parent company, that hey, we are making money with this IP. We need to develop more time on it. We need to put more resources towards it. And hey, we can afford it because it's making us money. They're a business. They're not a charity, you guys. If they're not making money, they're not working. Case in point, I paid my $10. I'm cool with it. 25 new races. Yo! I was so happy about the 25 new races. You guys have no idea how great that is for me. I told everybody, I was like, I'm going to reserve my judgment until this drops. Because if there's no new races, I'm done. I'm out. Because all I do is race. 25 new races is huge! That's so much more than we have got in any of the previous 5 volumes up to this point. That's great. I'm like all in on that. So cool. They are currently gated behind the PvP section, and we have to race stock cars, and that kind of sucks. And it doesn't really show the roadmap of what tracks they are in that particular player format. So Criterion, if you're listening, drop those into new playlists that are around the map that we can play in free roam. Because that's how a lot of us do play the game when we're trying to play with other people, more than 4 specifically. Myself as a streamer, I love doing it that way. So please give us that, because we like to go to the garage and do things. Also, if you're going to be doing the PvP side, show what track it is with like the layout. So that way when we're going into it, unless we have the names and the tracks memorized, we know kind of if we're getting into a speed list or if we're getting into a corner king, so we know what car to pick. That'll be really helpful for the player base. I think this is good. Couple little tweaks to the PvP side. Everybody's going to benefit. Best to last. S5 cars mid, you guys. Really not that great. It's geared too high, so don't get crazy. It's not going to be meta. R8, absolutely crazy cracked. Gonna start shattering some records in S-Class for sure. It's good at A+. I was driving it in S+ yesterday. I don't hate it. It doesn't go 245, so it's no Vergara, but like for some short track stuff, it grips. And we'll touch on why it grips here in a little bit. They talk about the details of everything. These patch notes are really like almost like an opinion piece to kind of sell stuff. It doesn't really show what they outline and what they change. So we're going to dive into that. I'm going to show you guys. They just talk about the Audis. Yay. Oh, Darius, we got the kit for him. That's neat. All right, so this is the differences of the Audis. They're introducing a more gradual loss of grip to make the drifts feel smoother. It's not a knife edge. If any of you guys are learning to micro drift, there is a fine line between micro drifting and it just spinning on you and then there you are dead. The Audis are a lot smoother with that. It makes the R8 really, really strong because it's very, very easy to drive. They smoothed out the high-speed grip spec experience. Bro, they did that tremendously. You can still Tron turn the car, but you don't need to be nearly as aggressive with the way we were Tron turning using the yellow boost. There's a reason I say that car is going to be meta in S and it's going to start breaking records because it handles so good. I like the way they've done that. If they just did a blanket patch for all the cars, I think as a community we would give a ton of pushback because we already have a lot of the cars memorized. Our feel, our just motions of how we drive the cars is really locked in for any of us that have spent a lot of seat time in them. But if they're going to introduce more cars and they're going to be maybe moving over to this patch and it's more gradual, I could see it working. It definitely makes that R8 really insane. If my Skyline handled like that, bro, I'd be breaking records today. Making high drift spec drifting easier to initiate. So how smooth it is to drift. Slide QT says that the R8 is insane. And he drifts. So the way that they've done that, I'm with it. I don't know if I'll like it on all the cars, but they are attempting to make it a little easier for the general pop of players, which is good, because right now there is a huge gap between the players that are really good at the game, that have all the techniques down, and the players that are just learning the game. I mean, it's like you can't even bridge that gap. You need a boat to cross the ocean. You get a player that knows how to Tron turn, micro drift, build boost, utilize NOS, and uses manual transmission. Most of those players can take a rental car and beat other players that are in fully built rides, just because the techniques are so much better. Cool. So I don't have a problem with them doing some things to try to bridge that gap. I'm cool with that. That's how I view that as well. Dedicated PvP. This is great. I kind of already touched on this. Some people were saying the UI sucks. They wish you could access it from the garage. My guys, this is added a year after the game has been out. It's a lot harder to change the UI unless you had planned it from the start, and I don't think this was on their roadmap when they released Unbound. So for them to have it set up to where when you log in, you can go into free roam or you can go into PvP, I don't hate that. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fine. Like, take your lumps, you guys. Is the UI super great? Not necessarily, but it's a lot better than Destiny, so we're going to take it. I mean, it's a racing game. It's not hard to navigate. It just took a few seconds to see that, and maybe it's not as seamless. I saw some people complaining about how long the load times are. Load times are based on your specific setup. If you have a problem with load times, that is a use problem, not a game problem. My load times are not slow. They are very fast. I also have the game on an M2 SSD that is very fast transfer rates. That correlates. If you've got an older SSD that has slower transfer rates, if it's also pretty full or a larger capacity drive, you're going to have slower load times. If you're playing on console and you're playing with the stock hard drive that Sony or Xbox gave you when you got the console, that's the lowest tier, bottom dollar drive they could put in there to cut costs. Upgrade it. Should you have to play the game? No, but don't complain about loading times if you've done nothing on your end to upgrade that on your side, because loading times really are case by case, and if you've got better hardware, it's a faster loading time. I'm not saying you should go out and spend a bunch of money on a new drive. Just don't bitch to them about load times when in reality there's a lot to unpack when it comes to loading in the game, getting all the shaders, just everything that goes with that. It's not terrible. It really isn't. So we move on. The Audi preview playlist. This is kind of coming back to like we race the stock cars. I don't love that. I wish that they would allow us to change our cars, but I'm hopeful that next week we'll be able to, so that's cool. I like that you can test the new cars in this particular playlist without having them unlocked. I think that's kind of nice. So you can get your ass in the R8 before you actually own the R8, but it is stock, but it's still pretty fast. Talking about boosted cash and XP, this is pretty tight. The boosted events is something they've been doing. I actually had my own XP boost, like a consumable, like, hey, you have an hour of XP boost, do you want to use it? Turn it on. Then everything I did for the next hour was like more XP. I thought that was tight. I was like, okay, that's neat. I like that. That's kind of a cool thing to go. And from a coming back to their business standpoint, if I could buy those XP boosts, that would be okay. That would be something that I myself as a player might not purchase, but somebody that's trying to power level to get the Audi or power level to get some cosmetic that they want, if you can get 5 of those for $1 or whatever it might be, it keeps you playing the game for every hour you've got boosted XP, because you're going to want to utilize that. So them as a company would be encouraged, and it allows me to kind of power level to get the things I want a little faster, and I think that's cool. So like, guys, don't hate on that if they bring that, because that's not everybody would use it. It doesn't affect you negatively if you don't, but it does give a boon to those that might. So I'll touch on that. Brand new S, and A plus A tier races, 25 in total. Love it. I haven't raced all of them yet, but everything I have raced are pretty tight. I had said 7 or 8 months ago that if they would just get a little more ballsy with the way that they were making these tracks, we could have some really fun tracks. Give me some alleyways, give me some tight cuts, give me some crazy tracks. They've done that. There's some races that we race up on the tram tracks. Insane. I love it. We did that on stream a bunch. There's somewhere you cut down an alley. There's not even enough room to put more than 2 cars wide. It's good. There's skill issue tracks. Like, you've got to know what you're doing. That's great. We're on our way, you guys. And so I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Legends playlist, whatever. 30 years of NFS. I couldn't care any way or another. Global player rank PvP. It's not really PvP. It's just a global ranking system, and you can do it in single player or multiplayer, and it just tells you what your progress is. And there's 200 ranks. So for this volume, I'm already ranked like 30 something. So most of us that play the game for any amount of time will get to rank 200 before this volume is done, which is cool. Like, I don't hate it. It just doesn't really mean anything. It's just a number. So the rewards, that's cool. As you level up, you get XP and cash and a new title system, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like Rocket League badges. It's a gimmick. I don't hate it, but it's like, meh. I'm just trying to race. I have mine turned off, right? Premium Speed Pass. I kind of already touched on that, you guys. I don't have a problem with it. It's how they generate income for them to keep generating updates for us to keep having more playtime. If you don't want microtransactions, if you don't want DLC, you need to play a game that is packaged from the start and doesn't have that. It's 2024. Let me know what that looks like, because damn near every game from any major publisher has got some kind of DLC that comes out later. It's how they continue to generate revenue for updates, you guys. It's what they do. And this doesn't pigeonhole you into buying that if you want to be competitive. That's my big stick here. Like, the RS6 Avant is the only car locked behind it. It's okay, but it is not game-breaking meta. The R8 is. R8's free. You don't need to buy anything to drive that. Cool, we're all happy. Drive it. Be good. Customization stuff, body kits, I'm cool with it. You know, like, pay to play. You want a cool body kit for your car and it's in the Speed Pass and you have to pay $10, buy it for $10. If you don't have $10, play the game. Just don't have the body kit. You'll be fine. Additional updates, quality of life. We talk, like, there's a lot baked in here, but it's all the same stuff repeated. So more races, yay! I love it. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Free drive playlist, weekly speedless updates. That's what I'm excited for. As they develop that PvP mode to where hopefully they show us the track layout before we pick our cars, allow us to pick our own personal garage of cars, and then make it so we're not locked into a theme. Themes are okay, but also give me the opportunity to just jump in there and race with the homies. Criterion. One thing you can do if you really wanted to push this, which will take the competitive scene to a new height, give us the ability to not just go in there with 4 people. Let me go in there with 8 people. Let me do a 4v4 battle between crews. Give us crew tags. Let us start clans. If you do that, you will have a PvP format that will last for years to come, because we can ingrain ourselves into the game and we can race other people and start actually throwing down challenges with one another. When it's like, I want to take my crew, get 4 of us in there, it's a private server, so to speak. Like, it gives us 45 seconds to invite whoever we want until it goes public or something. Like, put a timer on it. I don't care. And then I can invite and fill it up with 8 people. Dude, I'm in. That is how we are going to get some serious competitive racing. Clans, teams, leagues, everything will pop up when you give us that tool. And you're right there. You're this close. So do that for us, and you will have a lot more players that will stay here a lot longer. You can now earn towards your global rank in Speed Pass from single player, guys. This is huge. That's what you want to see. That's for you guys that want to just play single player but still want the boons of the Speed Pass. I love that. That's so good. And then, so coming back to single player stuff, you get more XP rewards from collectibles, link ups being the MVP. They're now ranking link ups. That's neat. I've done none of them. Single player events. Cool. Side bets in the single player events. Escaping cop chases and playlists. Cool. That's the single player homies. They're catering to you. I love that. I don't play single player, but I still like that they're doing that for you guys. Keeps it going. Quality of life. This is just bug fixes and stuff. So hot laps are now discovered by default, or not, that are not discovered by default. They don't show up as new, so that's fine. Fixed a bug with link up MVP tracking. Apparently that's some problem. I don't know. Entering link up. Yay, they fixed a lot of link ups, you guys. Small performance improvements when in longer game modes. This should save CPU usage spikes. This game bleeds CPU usage. There is actually a patch that we've had since Heat that, like, it's just an INI file. It just goes in and changes a few things. Not INI. I don't know, it's not a registry file, but it's like a little quick patch that we do as PC players on the side, and it took my CPU usage from like cresting off 100 while I was streaming to down in the 50% range. It was just like saved me half of my CPU usage almost instantly when I implemented that. So they're making some tweaks. They can do more. I just don't know if they know that. Improved car and road reflections. That's cool. The game does look a little prettier. Anti-aliasing stability. That's good. And white tunnels problem. This, you come out of a tunnel and it's just like white and you couldn't see shit. That's it. The head-to-head update, we can kind of look at that. It's just the Audis. It's not bad. I'm not upset with it, you guys. I think the dedicated PvP mode's really good. They're doing a lot of good things here. It really is pretty tight, the direction they're going. What I would like to see, ranked PvP. Actual, if you are in the bottom 4, you lose rank. If you're in the top 4, you gain rank. If you quit out of the playlist, you're guaranteed to lose the most amount if you got last. So that way it doesn't take people and give them an encouragement to leave. I mean, disconnect, be damned. I don't care. If you're in ranked and you leave and play in any other game, you take a hit. Same thing here. That'd be tight. You let us start ranking and actually doing it in the game, and you're going to have some people going try hard. I'm with it. I would like to be able to queue up for a total of 8 players to do our own league side stuff, event stuff. I think that'd be really good. Maybe even having the opportunity to suggest tracks or pick from a list of playlists and people vote on them or whatever that might be. So if we're trying to grind out a track and practice it for whatever reason, we could do that in the PvP side of things. That'd be really tight. Stops us from having to keep sending out a playlist. If I want to practice Rapid Transit and it's the 3rd track in a playlist, give me the ability to do that with others. In maybe the PvP event, we could just vote for it, and then we could just do it a bunch of times. That'd be tight. We'd really like that. Give me the ability to design my own playlists. Not necessarily a track editor. I'd love that, but that's asking for the moon and the stars. But let me pick this track, that track, and that track. And it's a custom playlist. I can send it out to the groups, and it's just got these things. And then if you want to get spicy with it, if you want to get really tight, Criterion, let me pick whatever class I want for that track. Let me do S plus turntable. Like, give me Apex Predator in A class. Let me pick what class and track I want to run, because that would be sweet. That'll make this game a lot deeper, because then I can run every track in 5 different classes, so it's kind of like having 5 different tracks. Not really, but kind of. That's what I want. That's what I'd like to see, but I'm not unhappy with the direction we're going. Anybody that says it's not worth $10, cool. Don't let anybody tell you, hey, don't spend money on this. If you are not feeding me, or financing me, you don't get to tell me how to spend my money. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Let the haters be haters. They're wrong. The game update's good. They're going in the proper direction. There's more they could have done, but there's always more somebody can do. You can't please everybody. Overall, I'm happy with the direction. I think it's pretty solid. That's going to be my patch notes rant. The first one I shot of this, I went pretty off the rails, off the hinges. I will leave it with this. Fix the bloody auxiliaries, mate. They do not function. If I change my car, my nitrous auxiliaries do not work. Please fix that. Please. That one change is that's all I want. That's the only thing I actually feel like you guys have been sleeping on for over a year. It's like, oh no, they're in the game. We can't be bothered to fix that. Most players don't notice. I notice. The hardcore players notice. Help us. Help you. We'll push this game. We like this game. Just give us all the tools so we don't have to be going back to the garage every time we change cars to go reset our auxiliary so that way they function. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you haven't. Put it in front of some other people. If you're not happy with what I've said today, sound off in the comments. If you're rude about it, I'll block you, but I have no problem with controversial opinions or going back and forth. I don't think I had any hot takes in here. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.